Hello everyone and welcome to a replay analysis video with me, AndyDavo. This is featured in Blood Bowl 2, and this time we're looking at a game that's been played by someone else. So someone on the Twitch community has sent me over a replay file, and we're going to do a quick replay analysis video on this. This is Orcs versus Nurgle, and we've been playing at about 2000 team value. While they're setting up, we'll just have a quick look at the two teams. So Draconis Blade is from our Twitch community. If you want to come and check the channel out, there's a link in the description below. And we are playing off against Nurgle. A little bit of backstory here. This is a league team. This is first versus second in the league, and we are looking, as for the Orcs, to try and avoid defeat. Probably avoiding defeat gets them through to the playoffs, and that's where we need to be. Inducements wise, the Nurgle are missing a warrior, so they've induced a loner and they've given it block to give it a bit more reliability, which I think is a very sensible move. And they've also picked up a wizard. Somehow they've also managed to get the fame, so Draconis has got Apothecary and 3 rerolls, and that's that. If we look a quick look at 2 benches, we've got 2 spare Orcs on this side, including a very nice block agility 4 line Orc. He'd slot nicely into my Frenzy Orc team. And on the Nurgle side, they've got 14 players, so they've got a little bit of utility, and I think they can certainly consider fouling. If we look at the actual teams themselves, first of all, I think we'll notice that the Orcs are very, very well endowed. 1, 2, in fact, we look at the 4 blitzers, they've all got 5 skills, so they're very, very strong. I've put Earned on only, I think, at the moment, because there's so many skill icons. And then we'll just pause it here because I want to talk a little bit about strategy. So Orcs are looking very, very, very strong. Utility thrower, and at the moment, as long as they can shut down the 2 claws, they're going to win this. So, first of all, when you were faced with this, what would you look for? Well, I think you've got to go thinking about what your victory conditions are. So, if we think about our opponent's victory conditions, what have they done? They've taken a wizard. They've taken a wizard, but they've not brought the ball carrier on. So that tells you that they're going to use the wizard in 1 or 2 different ways, I think. The first way is that the wizard is used to stop a score. Not turn someone round and score on them, just stop the score. So, because if they were looking to score, they'd have kept the ball carrier on the field. So the wizard's only going to get deployed probably turn 6, 7, 8, somewhere in that region, which also tells us as the Orcs that we need to take that ball and we need to try and shove it down there by sort of turn 5, 4, 5, 6, somewhere in here would be really nice. Yeah, anywhere along this sort of line. We need to take the ball to them, because then when the wizard is used, we're arguing about a ball that's here rather than being a ball that's here. And bearing in mind, the thrower at this stage might actually eat a lightning bolt. So the next thing I might look to change is we've got an agility 4 Orc, which would be a great player to carry the ball, or would be a great foil that once the lightning bolt has landed on the thrower, he comes on. So I think one of the first things we need to look at in terms of setup is that guy needs to come on the field, and I think we can trade it off for someone. If we look around in terms of who, I don't think we're fouling very much, so for me, that lineman comes off. So get rid of that and bring this on. So that tells us a bit about where we need to go with the Orcs and what sort of speed. It might also suggest a little bit about what they're going to do. With the rest of the team, what do we want to do? Well, we want to dominate the centre of the field, and I think it's important that we think about probably anywhere in this sort of area. If we can dominate this area here, and we can get the ball on there on turn 4, if that was turn 4, suddenly our ability to attack either flank or to be able to build on that as a really solid base would be great. So the ball needs to come in here on turn 2, and then we need to try and bully and dominate the centre. What does that look like? Well, throwing things into him, I think. And that's how I would first approach this. I think we need to start dominating, and with the amount of guard, should be reasonable. Blitz targets have got to be this guy and this guy consistently, because they are the 2 players that take the team apart. And then after that, weirdly, I'd actually start looking at the early part of the drive. We want to be using piling on any of these 3 players, because they don't have regen, they have low armor, and we can get rid of them. So that should tell you a little bit about Orc strategy in terms of what we need to be looking at. Now, if that's the strategy, then that feeds through to setup. So setup here is we want to be Mighty Blow piling on this guy. We want to be Mighty Blow piling on this guy. And to be honest, if we can, we may as well Mighty Blow piling on this guy. So that, because I think we've got 4, so why not, right? With 1 there, there's 1 there, there's 1 there, there's 1 there. So the whole setup needs to be orientated in a way that that happens, and then you can decide whether you want to blitz through one of these warriors, because if you do, you've pushed really hard in. Let's look at the team and see what players we've got. We've got a very nice troll. How much guard has he got? 1, 2. Yeah, so we can't just slam the troll in here because he just puts 2 guards in there and you get troll gets attacked. So we can't just slam into him. So I think the troll going in here, and I probably would just blitz this. So we can then start to chip away at that box I've just drawn. We'll take that. So we blitz in here, and then we want to set up the 3 mighty blow piling ons here. And that would be kind of how I would build the turn in Y. Wonderful kits. So people ask me in my league team about skill ups for the thrower, and they've been very surprised about my skill choices. And the thrower's first 2 skills for me have been accurate and then kick off return. And I noticed Draconis has got the same skills here. He's got accurate. Oh no, he didn't. No, that's backwards. But he has got those 2 skills. What accurate does is it lets you throw the ball on a 2+ with a reroll, so it helps him generate his own star player points, because then you can score with someone else, sharing the love around the team. And then kick off return, one of their big weaknesses of Orcs is that they're only movement 5, and so on the first turn he gets to be movement 8, which is super helpful. And he also might get a free chance to catch the ball. Right, so we haven't broken any Orcs, but I think the setup here didn't really enable what I was talking about. So yeah, that's kind of why. Now, one thing we need to be super careful of, and I haven't really covered on his team, is he's got a strength 4 Pestigal with Claw Mighty Blow. It also comes with Horns, so it blitzes on strength 5. That means on a 2 assists he gets to punch on 3 dice, or on 4 assists he gets to 3 dice of Black Orc. And when he does hit a Black Orc and knock it over, or anything, he's got a 1 in 3 chance of lifting it off the field. This guy is super duper duper dangerous. So, right, we are here. As I said, the next turn I think we just want to roll into the centre, and I think you can push forward a little bit. Whenever I get into these sorts of situations, I think the most interesting thing that you can try and do here is generate additional hits. So we're just going to pause it for a second because it's about to roll over to the second turn. And when we talk about additional hits, we've obviously got the 1-2 dice there, so we need to stick a guard in there, and we need to stick a guard in there because we've got to take that 2 dice. And then we've got like a little no man's land here, right? So what you could do is you could slam that guy in there, and if I just clean this up a little bit, if we take this guy and slam him in here, and then we take this guy and put him in there, when we blitz here, we've then got a T-shape on the side here, so that if we get a push, we can push that into there, punching that out of the way and generating an extra hit. So now we get to punch 3 things rather than 2 things. And at higher team value, generating an extra hit and more chances for removal can help swing the game in your favour really, really soon. Yeah, the other solution here is just a little bit less elegant, but it will work, which is go and slam the 3 Black Orcs in those squares there and punch that. Yeah, it's not as effective, but it will work because none of these have guard. And we need to start strength bullying where possible. So, indeed. Yep. In we go, in we go, and in we go. And then we need to decide what we're blitzing. Where is our blitz? So, Draconis, have you decided your blitz, or are you going to leave it? Okay. Now, if we were given the choice there of both down, would have been amazing, because the beast does not have guard, and it keeps it there, and keeps it close by. You can always see a little bit where you don't really want to blitz these. They're base-to-base contact. You get to punch them next turn. And he also didn't want to follow up because of the piling on element. Right choice not to pile on, I think. And one other thing about trolls, just to toss it on the pile of things to talk about, is when you're moving your troll, if you can move the troll early doors, it really helps to move the troll early in the turn, because then you know whether you've boneheaded or not. Because the bonehead there wasn't, really stupid even. It wasn't disastrous, but it did leave this flank slightly more exposed. So Nurgle doing everything right here, I think, just staying in the middle, not giving away the yardage. just a little unsure where he's blitzing at the moment. It looks like he's shaping up there. However, the double go for it there tells us he's blitzing the troll. Yeah, stand firm. It's not a reroll, I don't think, on turn 2. If this was turn 4 and that was a push, you could argue it. Being a little greedy to roll that straight away. And then he needs to run away so he doesn't get punched by Mighty Blow. Now, if we pause this, we're going to have his turn. We can also see again how we can take our guard players and this concept of strength bullying, which I talk about from time to time. Just take the skills off for a second. If you can stick a guard player in there, one in there, one in there, one there, one there, when these people who don't have guard suddenly find it incredibly difficult to throw any hits, and therefore you're doing your thing, which is pushing slowly forward. It's like a tank just rolling forwards. And the most important thing about a guard wall is that it's straight, not got any kinks in it, and it's all guard. You don't really want anything without guard because it's a serious hole that your opponent can exploit. And you also can't really do it into guard because guard support guard on the opposite side as well. Ooh. That'll be a follow. Slightly surprised that's not piling on, actually. I am slightly surprised that's not piling on. Ooh, that's some unfortunate dice. So now this side's going to collapse. As soon as that happened, what you could do there is you know that this side's going to collapse. So let me just take extra skills off. You know that this side is going to fall over potentially. And it's almost like pivoting around a fulcrum. At this point, I'd be very, very tempted. The ball hadn't moved yet. We could start just trundling this way. Because if that is going to collapse and push down, we want to go up the other way so that it doesn't matter that this falls over. If this is really close to the ball, we can't take advantage of our own misfortune here by pushing. He's actually trying to go the other way and he's trying to fix it, which is very admirable, but ultimately I suspect won't be a thing. And the guard there we could have gone there as well to get the extra 2 hits. One to type the beast and also to get the warrior. What I do like about this, it is flat though. So not crushed for that, which is nice. I think you're blitzing here. And again, if you just look at this for a second, something that you can look at from the Nurgle point of view is how do you generate extra value? How can you generate extra hits? And this is another thing. So we've just talked about a T-shape. Let's look at this. We've got a box here, a box of 4. So if we blitz from that square there, you'll see that you can only go into these 3 squares here. At that point, that guy can get pushed into that square there, and we got another free 2 dice. Brilliant. Then we got another free 2 dice. So that we actually get to, not quite guarantee, but we get a lot of dice on that Black Orc. And again, it's a very good way of switching momentum round. And as an extra super bonus, the Troll's gone stupid, so we don't actually then have to pay for it anywhere. That has actually moved. So I think to be fair, you're just throwing a block with a beast, which is reasonable. It's got Mighty Blow. We'll switch it back around and watch it from the Orc perspective. So notice, look, we've not managed to gain any yardage. So as we've not gained any yardage, and it's not a super problem, we're on turn 4, but we do need to start going now, because if we don't go now, we're going to find it really, really difficult over the next couple of turns. He's going to have to follow into that. Unfortunate, but again, follow into that. It's the only big guy in the world with block. And this is looking a little tricky for the Orcs all of a sudden, isn't it? If we had the Edge 4, we could suddenly do something fun. If we were using the strength to bully here, we would get a little bit more yardage. It's interesting watching this. I like to see how other people play. So I think he's now suddenly 2 players down. And we haven't been able to take advantage of piling on. And at this point, I would say that now that we're on a tipping point of if you lose another one, and that's lost for the turn, the Nurgle are going to start to bully you. And they're going to start to just say, and take extra hits and extra hit and extra hit. And it's going to be really difficult to get anywhere. And while it's probably important we don't completely panic, it is also at the same time important that we manage to get back into the middle. And imagine we had got control of this area here. The difference that would make to this drive. Because the Nurgle are just playing defence. They don't need to let you past. So we're probably having to blitz here. Which is, yeah, that's a nice move. And then we need to start pushing this flank here. Break armor, we get to, oh wow, okay, if we could break armor we got to pile on. If we didn't break armor we probably had to stay upright, so that's really nice. And we should just rotate a Black Orc. I think we take the extra squares. 1, 2, I'd go there, because to shut that down now is really easy, right? The Nurgle warrior just goes and stands there, it's done. Whereas if you'd have taken that extra bit of yardage, it's not done. These are all minor different, like these are tactical decisions made on the fly, and how do you decide whether the right thing to do is? Well, for me, I'm always thinking about where am I going to go the following turn? Where am I going to go the turn after that? And when you start thinking about turns with more than just the turn you're involved with right now, suddenly I think other decisions become more apparent. Like with the Nurgle coach here, I think you're kind of wanting to go that way, right? You don't want to give away the middle, but we're getting to the point where the Orcs have got to commit to something. So if they're going to commit to a thing, make it a really unpleasant thing. This is almost elf-like with the columns. Shame from the Orc point of view. Okay, yeah. So now we're probably into a realm of, well, we've still got the flank open and we're going to have to pick. We are now on turn 6 and we're going to have to pick. And that decision has come around because in the last 2-3 turns we haven't gone anywhere. And I suspect turn 3 was probably the turn that this all went wrong. And the moment you do this, if you don't shove that way, yeah. I think the bad news though is that the blob goes and attaches itself to this. You put a Pestiger on the other side of it. So you just make a V shape. That shuts that down. And then you just go and deal with 2 blitzers here. 3 blitzers, sorry. And the moment you've got, because you've still actually only got 1 scoring threat because you've isolated that. So you deal with this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh wow. Okay, this is the super aggressive line of play. I'll have to be quick in the explanation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's going to blitz here, and he's going to go looking for the ball sack. That is a super aggressive line. Don't dislike it actually. Really don't dislike it, because if it works, you're 1-0 up. And here was me thinking that he wouldn't use the wizard on this drive for anything other. Oh, excuse me. Wouldn't use it for anything other than trying to stop a defensive score. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Now go and fetch this. Wonk it there. And we could well... Wow. Wow. The kahunas. Oh my word. Okay, I think that was high risk, moderate. Well, I say high reward. I mean, he's screwed him, but it was all right. It was high risk, high reward then, because it was a high reward, but it was high risk. So it was a 2+2+2+ without a reroll. So there was a 40% chance of failure. Then we had a 3+ pickup, and then we had a 4+ throw, and a fumble here lets the thrower back in. So that was possibly the strongest square. You know, a singular go for it. The risk was not particularly high, and then the reward was pretty strong. The double go for it was greedier. I'm not sure I'm a fan. I'm not sure I'm a fan. Yeah. And at this point, I think you've got to just say, the score is over. Yeah, the score is now done. And this is looking very defensive touchdown. Just lock that down. Nice one. And now we know that the orcs have got to throw the ball. One of the things that I think should be and could be considered here is to try and space out the disturbing fragrance, so that anything on the halfway line can't then just be handed the ball. So go and stick 2 disturbing fragrances, stinky presence over here, so that there's just no way anything happens. Okay. Oh dear. That's shepherd levels of throwing. Oh, why go for it there? Why? Why? It's just not needed. And that was naughty as well. So the reason I don't like that is because you're already saying, hey, oh dear. You're already saying, hey, I'm marking this as a jump up, I bet, but if I fail my 1 in dart, blah, I'm going to come and mark you. So I'm not a fan of that. Not a fan of that at all. And the go for it here has stopped. Wow, I guess is the reason he doesn't score. These edge decisions. Edge decisions. Don't go for it. You don't need to roll the dice. If you don't need to roll the dice, don't. Something I've had to learn over the last month. Do not roll dice you don't need to roll. Not when there's a punishment on the other side of them. I think that sounds more exciting than it is. Come on, over here. Do this bit. So he's looking for a 3+ dodge, a 55% knockdown. Yeah, nope. Okay. Who knows how that would have worked out with a reroll, but we know how it worked out without a reroll. Junior, I think there was some good there was good play from both coaches in there. There was some really good things, but there was also things that hopefully, you know, both you guys, if you're watching this at home on your toaster, tablet, TV, whatever, you can look at that and say, yeah, it makes sense. But also, there was periods of good play where people were making a lot of the right decisions. So we're just a black orc down. However, let's now watch this on chase cam from the Nurgle point of view, on the offensive drive, and we'll see how they get on. Remember back to the very beginning of the video, we said that the Nurgle only need to get a draw, so 0-0 is actually a valid playing tactic. I do like this setup. This is the sort of the Space Invader setup, popularised by a streamer on Twitch. Who's been streaming for around about 4 years or so, offers coaching, I believe, and is generally a top chap. If you want a link to his channel, check it out, it's in the description below. this is a lot of moving. Hurry up. Every time I thought, I'll just press the forward button, we can't. Both teams get an extra reroll. Okay. So, as we've talked about at the beginning of the drive, from the oh wow, that's a nice place to start if you're Nurgle. We talked about the strategy from the Orc perspective. Now we should think about it, the strategy from the Nurgle perspective. And I think on this one, the Nurgle should just try and do more of the same that the Orcs did, which is pick a couple of, oh my word, okay. Pick a couple of things off. Okay, tick, done that. Yep, next Andy, what do you want me to do now? And then they just slowly drive down the field. I don't think that's completely unrecoverable, but I think that this is an incredibly strong hand if you're Nurgle now. Put the ball in there. Because at this point, if we actually look at this, the Orcs are 3 down, potentially 4 down. So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you could argue that they don't need to wait until 16 to score. They could go and score a little bit sooner. Now at that point, one of the I'm not going to pause it, I'm going to let it keep playing. One of the things you can do once you get a 2-player advantage like this is it's very common for the defensive team to have to be slightly wider than the offensive team. And the reason for that is that if your offense starts in that square there, the defense needs to stop you being able to get past there, right? So you tend to make the defensive team go wider. If you go really wide and start over here and finish all the way over the side, it's like a rope. You're stretching your opponent's team. And when there's 11 players, there's obviously more pieces in the chain than there is if they are only 9 players. And once the defensive team then commits to an area of the field, you can then either just completely engage, or you can pick one section of the team to go and engage with a lot of your team, and then you can push your way through. You also have more chance of being able to push around one of the flanks. This is a good Nurgle play. Bullying here. Take the 2 dice, take the 2 dice. He's super careful with this guy. This is something the Orc coach did, which was they took the ball and they took it off to one side, but they didn't take it to one side and stood it like there, where they've said, hey, we're going. They took it to one side and stuck it here, and then didn't balance the pivot very well. I guess this is something else we should sort of cover. There's an awful lot in this one. So let's just take this board state and we'll pause it. I'm going to turn all the skills off so you can see a nice clean board state. And we'll look at it almost from as high up as possible. Now, if the ball is here, and it's 6 squares of movement, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we can get the ball into that area there, or we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We could be somewhere in this area here, right? Broadly, I know that's a go for it. And the Orcs should know this, whether intuitively or just click the damn thing and you can see where it can run. So that's not a problem. The Orcs can then go and shut that space down. If the Orcs know that all of the Nurgle players are all here, and they are all here, broadly, then we can cross that out as a thing that's going to happen. It's not going that way. We've already threatened that we're going to go that way, or we're not going anywhere at all. So how do you make that more of a threat? Well, the first thing you probably want to do is you want the ball to be as far forward as possible. So in this exact example where there's a jump up Orc there, probably the best square is this one. And then you want players here, and if you can steal a bit of space here, then you should take it. And if you can steal a bit of space there, you should take it, because it means that the ball can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now ball can stand there next turn, and you'll extend your own screen, or it can stand over here. So it's imagining sort of having a knife, and you put your finger and then balance the knife. If you go too far one way, your opponent knows it's going to tip to the left, and if you go too far the other way, your opponent's going to know it's going to go too far to the right. So It is okay to put the ball slightly off centre, but you've got to balance perfectly. Otherwise, it's pointless, and it doesn't create any value for you. So I'm going to zoom back down again. I'll put just earned skills only on. There we go. just earned skills. My God. My God. There we go. If you would also like your own game replay analysing, so you can look at things that you can try and do better. You won a game, or you think you could have won it more, or you drew and you're frustrated, or hey, you even lost a game. I mean, I don't want to go too far, but maybe you lost, and you want to know why, and we're prepared to look past dice maybe, then feel free to send me the replay file. Send me a message on Discord and we can talk about it. All I'll need you to do is be an active sub on Twitch, and you can send me the replay file, and we'll look and see if we can get one of these going a week. Because it's really interesting for me to look at these other games. Really interesting. And you guys don't know how this finishes. And you see the slight difference here? We could have been slightly over there. Good blitz. Nice. I do think if the Orcs... and if you can stand someone there, anything, just get something in there. I know it might be weird to send the blob off on its own, but if you do send it off on its own, you're giving yourself a corridor to run down. Yeah. I wonder if he's done that intuitively, or he just thinks maybe that's a good idea. And then at that point, I would just leave those players there. Just leave them there. They're eating up actions for players that we don't care about. Because the next turn, we can be stood there, and that Black Orc can still be stood there. At that point, it's almost effectively KO'd, because it's not going to do anything else meaningful in this drive. Because the turn after 1, 2, 3, 4, it gets to stand there. Cool. That's your 13. Your next 14, it stood there, and that's assuming it's had a straight run for 2 turns. And whatever you left there just died. So sometimes when you're making a break, it is okay to give away some hits. Draconis making a valiant effort. Oh no. Okay, so that was pro. He popped there and he rolled a 1, and then he rolled a 1 on that. The blitz is... I do think, yeah, that's the blitz. That was a big swingy blitz though, so if it didn't work, you weren't going to get any further forward. Now you can stand the blob up. And I think you could have stood the warrior in here, just to cancel out that assist, because at the moment, it's too easy to get 2 assist. 2 dice on the blob, and this isn't aggressive enough. You need to go. The Orcs actually have a reasonable shot at shutting this down now. And I think this is where I would start trading out players. Who doesn't like seeing a casual 1 dice removal? Honestly, vomit-inducing. I said the Orcs have a good chance of shutting it down. Oh, it's not got anyone, not got a friend. So what we could have done there was we could have blocked there. I know we didn't roll the POW, but had we done, we could have then blitzed off. We could have blitzed there maybe, and then stood the troll over here, because we need to get this troll involved. Really stupid here is not helpful. And then we need to go and stand in front of this. We need to be stood here and here. Ideally in an L shape here. But I think just there. And you need something else. Yeah, that works. That just about works. The bad news is now you go back through this guy, don't you? You blitz here, and you run through. Christ. He's making hard work of this. Wow. Trip skulls. Wow. He's just survived 8 dice. Wow. Stand firm. Good skill. Oh, you're giving away all your yardage. Judy, no! Just giving away all your yardage. Oh, man. Right. I just look at this, and I think whenever you see situations like this, you should say to yourself, how do I get 2 dice on that ball there? How do I get 2 dice on that ball? Because it's there. I shit you not, it is there. I mean, it's a little bit complicated, but it is there. So, I assume you've all paused the video and gone, you're kidding me. So, first things first. What would we need to do? Well, the only possible way you could possibly get 2 dice on the ball is using this guy. And he needs to be pushed into that square there. So, what tools have we got at our disposal? Well, we've nearly got a T-shape here, but we haven't. And even if we did, the Black Orc could get shoved in that square there. So things that you have to do to make it work. Whoops, let's get rid of that. Well, we need to fill that square in. So therefore, the only player that we can push into that square is this one. And therefore, that is the Blitz. We also know that we can get a guard in there. We've already got an assist here. We're going to need to cancel this guy out. So there's a guard there. And all we have to do then is blitz that guy there. And then we'll be stood in the square behind it. We've got our two dice there once we block here to follow up. That pushes that into there. We've already cancelled out all the assists. That's your 2 dice. Poof. I do hope you all followed that. Oh, please let this be a thing. No. Oh, well, actually, it's not done. It's still not torched. He's still not torched it. Okay, he can still do it. Yeah. It's still doable. Fill in that square there. Fill in that square there. Fill in that square there. Oh. Oh, Draconis, I so hope you watch this game back. Because you even got the value pile on the strength 5. Wowzers. There was one caveat I'm just going to insert, which is the guy that you punch with a troll has got guard. So unless you roll a POW on that, it's only 1 dice. I mean, but it is there. This is oh, the blob has got up. The blob has got up. That could be a scoring threat at some point later in the game. Yeah, you gotta worry that. Watch that guy. He could run off and score. Sadly, there is no scoring chain push shenanigans, or is there? Or is there? No, there isn't. You're asking an awful lot to fill in both of those and that to chain push the troll forward. No. But I think at this point, you should be thinking we can stop this. What you need to not do is get too involved in the idiot magnet, which is the blob, because yeah. I think that should be there. Because we're going to blitz through this. If we roll a kapow, we can run through. Ooh, he's going to go this way. Okay, sensible play. Yeah, I like that. Well played, Junior. That was better than my solution of powering through here. Well played. And in a follow-up video, I think what I'm going to do, we're going to talk about is, I want to try and talk about how you decide what the turn. So we've looked at turn strategy, but we haven't talked about turn structure and how you then go about taking that turn and iterating enough to find the right solution. Because I think that's super important. For me, those warriors, that warrior should be going over there and bothering. I've got a pointer. Let's use it. Obnoxious. It should be bothering one or both of these guys. Don't re-roll. No! Junior, your re-roll management is awful. Stop it. Stop it. Oh my god. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. So he's on minimum 60% chance to score. This is really nice because now you can push. Oh, so if you'd have thrown that block with a different guy, we could have used the T shape here, and then you'd be stood in that square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. Not quite enough actually. So you're looking at a dodge then. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. I don't know. Probably not worth it at that point actually. Probably worth just getting in the way. And the blob is no more. It's MNG, so it won't be coming back next week. Well, that's just dead, isn't it? I think the big problem here is that the ball carrier himself is strength 4 and 2-headed, so is able to just be obnoxious. Doesn't need a POW, just needs to throw 2 dice blitz and then run through the gap. But does need to not roll a 1 in 9 now. Nice. Doesn't want to see a 1 in 9, finds it, and then is looking at a score. So, we'll see whether he scores. Thank you very much for watching the video. I really hope you enjoyed the content. This gives you a flavour of the sort of stuff that we can do for a replay analysis. And maybe I'll see you on Twitch sometime. We'll close it out there. Thank you very much. The Orcs don't score and it finishes 1-1. 1-0. So thank you very much for watching. As always, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel and helps the discoverability. So really appreciate that. Maybe I'll see you on Twitch. Bye now.